Hello and welcome back to my channel. I am Voided and Lost, and in today's video I will be showing you guys how to make this blackjack gambling machine game that you see here behind me. I have had a lot of comments for people wanting me to build this machine, so thank you for all the upvotes on this. The original machine was by none other than the wonderful Rex Stone, done on the Java version of Minecraft. And as most people know, the Java version of machines don't really work here in Bedrock, so this is a conversion of his machine. And I've got to say, since I've made it, I can see why people have been liking this machine. It's pretty fun. So if you have seen my videos before, you will know the format. Usually I give a little demonstration of the game, and then I like to talk about some of the differences between the Redstone, between the Java version and the Bedrock edition, and then I'll get into making the machine itself. If you just want to hop right into the tutorial, the timestamp should be somewhere up on the screen, somewhere over there, and down in the description I have also timestamped the different portions of the different circuits, so all of that is laid out down below in the video description. And go ahead, if you don't mind, to Rex's channel and give him a like, just because he's got good stuff over there. Even if it is for the Java version, it is still relevant because it's Minecraft, and he's got cool stuff. So go ahead and make sure you visit Rex Stone's channel over there. And now, without any further ado, let me go ahead and show you what this machine is capable of. First off, if you do not know how to play blackjack, let me give you a little overview of how the game goes. Usually, it is the player, you, trying to beat the dealer and get as close to without going over 21. Here on this machine we are going up to 14, which is indicated by the lamps. If you happen to hit 15, you've busted and you lose. So you are trying to get as close to 14 right here above my head as possible without going over, and you do that by saying hit, in which case you get a random number between 1 and 7. And then when you want to stop receiving, you say stay, and you hit the stay button. And then your score will be compared to the dealer's. Now, the inbox, payment into the Shulkers. The inbox will take up to 2 stacks of diamonds, and then it will stop. And once you put in your payment, the Shulker box will lock, so it will not accept any more payment, and then the game begins. So let me give you a little demonstration with 10 diamonds. And I put this little light in to let you know the machine was processing the diamonds, and it's locked. So now if I try to put more in, it's just not going to accept them. And so you want to get your first card, as it were. So you hit, and it was a 2. Hit again. Okay. Hit again. Okay. Hit again. I am trying to get from here onwards, because I have set my machine up so the minimum score for the dealer is 10. Oof. Let me try one more small number. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Stay. I'm gonna stay there. Now we compare to the dealer, who busted. All right. And how it goes is, if you lose, you lose your money. If you happen to tie with the dealer, you get back what you put in. And if you win, you get double the amount of money. So if I had bet 2 stacks of diamonds, I would have gotten 4 back, which is pretty cool. So yeah, that is how the game is played. Okay, I'll give you a little look at what the redstone components look like here on the back side. This all pretty much fits in the same footprint as the Java version. So it's a little complicated, but not too bad. Not something I would call an early game machine because it does need shulker boxes. Like this, it does need shulker boxes. So let me go ahead and bring you into my other creative world, and we can talk about the redstone. Alright, hello and welcome to my creative test world. Behind me is the Blackjack machine. Swing around here. Where are we? Yep, right here. Alright, see, right here. Blackjack with variable bets by Redstone. Now, when I am converting from Java to Bedrock, I always, to the best of my ability, build the Java version block for block here kind of in the front, and then when the redstone starts diverging from what is workable in Bedrock, then I start building the Bedrock version kind of in the rows behind. But this row in front represents Redstone's original machine. Originally, when I was first glancing through the video for this build, I thought, well, the toughest part to convert would be the end with all the logic circuits, but turns out all the logic circuits work perfectly fine in Bedrock Edition. That was no issue at all. The biggest issue, of course, it had to be, was the start of the machine and the payout system. That was the hardest bit to convert. Why? Why, you may ask? Well, we are going to look at, let me see, which circuit are we going to look at? Oh, okay, it's going to be over in this area. Yep, it's going to be over here in this area. So what Rex does, yes, he uses note blocks to chime notes. That's obvious. But what he also does is stuff like this over here with these note blocks. If you see this observer, to me, all right, I don't play in Java, so I'm only kind of guessing. I'm fairly confident in my guess, but what this is doing, as far as I can tell, is he is chiming a note block, and the observer is supposed to see the note block and then fire into this block, and then that produces the payment. In Bedrock Edition, observers do not see note blocks chime. I think this is another case where something like that was supposed to happen. With this getting pushed over. But yeah, observers just don't see that. And that would have been a single note that the observer sees and then fires once, rather than like if it's looking at redstone, which is an on-off signal, then the observer fires twice, etc., etc. Yeah, same thing here at this corner of this payout circuit. This is a payout circuit. The observer fires the block, chimes the note block, and then this observer is supposed to see it. It doesn't. So yeah, right about here, I had to think pretty hard on what to do to replace the note blocks. And I thought this would be a great opportunity for me to try out the new copper bulbs, because I had not used those in the circuit yet. But it seemed to me that that was pretty logical. They turn on, you get a signal, observer sees it. They turn off, you get a signal, the observer sees it. And so, yeah, I had to think about that. My issue. I ran into issues, though, because I did not know how to use copper bulbs. Right now, currently, if you look at a copper bulb with just an observer, they do not see the observers do not see the bulbs turn on and off. They see when they are powered and unpowered. So what does that mean? It means, and part of the thing that it took me a while to figure out is the bulb is powered, you got one signal. I turn it off, and it signaled again, it fired again. So the observer is not seeing the bulb turn on and off, it is seeing the power being supplied to the bulb, much like how hoppers lock and unlock, and the observer can see the hoppers. It wasn't until I got the entire build done that I realized I can be looking at the bulbs with comparators, and that would have fixed my issues in doing the circuit. So we see that. Okay, and we've got the comparator being powered on, and it doesn't fire again because the comparator is actually getting a redstone signal from the bulb now. I think part of my issue in my confusion before was I was thinking of bulbs as like redstone lamps that do not put out a signal. And then if we do this again, yep, I turn it off, and then when I turn it off, that's when I got my second signal. So yeah, something else. Another issue I ran into with bulbs when working with them, I forgot to use the waxed version of the bulbs. So as the bulbs were corroding over time, as I was building this, as the bulbs were corroding, the observers would see the corrosion and fire. So, comes to my other point. Use waxed bulbs, otherwise the observers will see them corrode. So you want to use waxed copper bulbs. Use the waxed copper bulbs, not your basic copper bulb. Alright. Okay, so that learning how to work with bulbs was my first redstone issue to deal with. The second redstone issue to deal with was actually in redirecting redstone signals. And I didn't think that would be an issue, but there are quirks in redirecting redstone signals here in Bedrock. What do I mean by that? Well, let us, just take a look at this, for example. So this is a redstone cross. I would expect, if I supply power, it's a cross, it powers this block, which then powers something beside it. Piston, dropper, anything like that. If this turns into a line, I would expect this block to become unpowered. So, it changed into a line, but this block is still powered. I mostly ran into that issue with the target block. I would have thought this line is redirected, this block should not be powered. There is like an invisible powered cross right here that is powering this block. So some things like the piston, like the target, will visually redirect this, but not actually redirect the power. How do I know this? Because of this over here. This is the same setup. If it's a cross, it will power this block. If you use something like a button, now the power is actually in a single line and not powering the side block. Same thing if you used a lever or a tripwire hook, but the tripwire hook would require another block like here floating in front. But yeah, so discovering the differences between semi-redirected or visually redirected and actually redirected redstone power was the second thing I had to figure out. So yeah, 2 redstone tips. So I think that is the two redstone things that I really wanted to go over, the differences between Java and Bedrock, and kind of some of the redstone quirks that I had to overcome in redesigning some of these circuits. And so now let us hop right on in to the actual build. Okay, to get set up for this build, the blocks you will need are about 2.5 stacks of a block of your choice. It does not have to be wool. It's just the different colored wools make it easier to see the different circuits. About 22 glass blocks, 3 slabs, 2 blocks of sand, 3 barrels, 6 target blocks, half a stack of redstone lamps, 34 observers, 1 slime block, 4 waxed copper bulbs. Again, they have to be waxed, not just regular copper bulbs. 6 pistons, 12 sticky pistons, 2 dispensers, 10 droppers, 13 hoppers, 104 pieces of redstone dust, 13 torches, 29 redstone comparators, 26 redstone repeaters, 2 blocks of redstone, 4 buttons. They can be either stone or wooden. In this particular case, I actually kind of recommend the stone on this machine because they work a little faster, and that is more appropriate for this machine compared to some of the other machines that we've had. 10 note blocks, and to create your different sounds with the note blocks, you will want 1 block of iron, 1 block of gold, 2 blocks of emerald, 2 bone blocks, and 3 pumpkins. In addition to these items, you will also want some diamonds to start off for your payments. And you will also need, towards the end, 15 shulker boxes. And the size of the area that we need, we will need a space 8 blocks deep, a space that is 13 blocks wide for the redstone, and then you will have another 3 blocks, so 16 blocks wide total for your display. Because if you can see here, the redstone stops about here, but this display comes over an additional 3 blocks. And then the height is the floor is 5 blocks up, and the top highest block is 10 blocks tall. So if your floor is here, then you'll have to come up another 5 blocks. Alright, to get started, we are going to go over here to this front corner, and we are going to count over 6. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we are going to build up 4 and put a shulker box on top. Now the shulker box should be at your floor level, just like that. And then behind here, we are going to put 1 block there. And then we are going to come out with 1, 2. And another one here. We can take that one there out. On these blocks, we will do a comparator and dust, like this. Here, we will take out that block and have a hopper facing in to the block to the back, and this is going to be a sorting hopper. Over here, from here, we are going to come down 1 and 1 to the back and take that out. Down on the floor, we'll put 1 there and 1 here. And we can take that block and that block out. In this spot, we will have a repeater facing in that direction. And when that fires, it is going to send a signal down to here. And then on the side of this block will be a redstone torch. In this location, we can put in 1 more block. So then over here on this side, we are going to build up 2 blocks. We are going to have a dropper there facing up. We will come to the side, have another dropper facing up, and then we will have a hopper facing into the side of that dropper. And finally, we can take that block out and put a hopper facing into there. Alright, so this torch is locking this hopper, which is good. We can take those two blocks out. We can take that block out. Alright. Now that this hopper is locked, we can add in the items into our sorting hopper. And what we need in the sorting hopper is 21 stackable items. If you rename something to do this with, that would be good too, or use unusual items. But place them in 1, 2, 3, and 18 in that spot, and then put your diamond in that spot. And this will sort out the diamonds for you. Now we can put in a sound effect. To do that, off the back side here, you can have a target block and put a target block there to redirect this redstone signal. And next to the target block, we can do a lamp that will turn on and off when the block gets powered. And we are going to have an observer looking at the redstone lamp. And when that turns on, we will signal a note block here with a piece of glass under it. And then hit this 10 times. And then next, when we get done putting items into the shulker box, we will actually want this hopper to lock so it will not take any more items in. And to do that, we are going to tie into this circuit with a redstone torch here, so that when that fires, this will turn on. We will have one dropper facing up, and then one dropper facing back down into this, like that. Put one item in the bottom dropper, and a comparator there, firing into this hopper. So when this turns off and then back on, which indicates items going into that hopper and then not going into that hopper, it will move this item from the bottom dropper to the top dropper, and that will lock this hopper. So the next step, well, this is going to be your output dropper for your diamonds for when you win. This dropper down here is a temporary storage type dropper, and this is used to hold your diamonds, so if you tie or win, we can count those diamonds to know if we need to double them or not. So we are going to need to get a comparator reading from this dropper. So we'll stick a block behind it, and then we'll come down a block, and on that we will put a comparator in subtract mode. That is firing into a block. Come down again with some redstone dust on it. Next to that redstone dust, we are going to put a target block and a sticky piston under the target block. And we are going to put a sticky piston 1, 2, well, go up 3, take out the bottom 2, and put a sticky piston facing down so that you have the gap there, and take out the top block. When the game starts, this will pull this block up to complete the circuit, but for now we want it in the down position. Put a block next to it with a repeater on 2 tick delay, Another block here with dust. Come down and over with 2 blocks. Dust, dust. And to trigger this dropper to spit the items up, we will put a redstone, we will put a target block there. And that redirected the redstone into the target block. Alright, so there is that circuit for draining out this dropper and starting to count your diamonds. Alright, so this next circuit is going to deal with the fact that this will shut off after 2 stacks of diamonds goes through it. To do that, we are going to take a reading off of this circuit here, because this is already, in a way, counting the diamonds in this dropper. When that signal strength is coming through here, and we extend over here 3 blocks, when it gets to this point, that length will essentially be 2 stacks of diamonds. So we'll bring over 3 blocks, dust, 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 put a block there to cut that off, come up into a block, and then over to the side, and again 2 more, so it's 3 this way, and then a block there next to that dropper. Put a repeater on 3 tick delay, repeater 3 tick delay, and a repeater on 4 tick delay. So when that dropper gets 128 diamonds in it, this redstone signal dust will get to this point, and then that will fire this, locking the hopper. Okay, and so the next circuit that we will put in will deal with some of the resetting of some of the game. So we'll start with a target block and put it in that position there. Down here along the orange, we will put 3 more blocks with some repeaters in 4 tick delay. All of these 4 tick delay. We will stick a block up with a redstone torch on its side there. Then we will come back here in this position with a torch, with a repeater here, a block up there, a block there, take out the middle one. On top of this, we'll have some redstone dust and a sticky piston over here, like that. An observer, there we go, facing into the head of that piston, and a block here. Now, when this retracts and then fires back into this block, it will move the item that would be up in here back down into that dropper. Here we will have a repeater on a 2 tick delay here, and that is going to fire into a note block with an iron block here, note block on top for our sound effect. And hit this 18 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Over here, we will come down to that spot, take out the middle, put some redstone dust there, a block there, a redstone torch here, and then again we are going to do a sticky piston. Oof, wow. An observer facing into that, and a block there, and a block there, with some redstone dust on it. Okay. So when this retracts and then extends, this will fire this sticky piston and move the target block, which would be up here, back down into this position. Alright, so this next circuit is going to deal with an overflow situation that might happen. Meaning, as people are playing this game and your output dropper collects diamonds, like if this collects and fills up with diamonds, like all stacks of diamonds, if that isn't handled, it could actually break the game because things would back up into here too much. So to handle that, we are going to put a barrel down here and a hopper leading into the barrel like that to drain out the excess diamonds down into here. Now, to keep it from just automatically doing that, because you do want diamonds left in here, we'll stick a block of redstone next to the hopper, and that will lock your hopper. Okay, so that obviously will need to move once this is full. So to figure out the readings to do that, we are actually going to say, if this gets full, the diamonds will back up into this hopper. And if we get so many diamonds in this hopper, then this can move. And we're coming back here to the hopper because we also need to have enough room to be able to fire this dropper for the payouts, which we are going to do from this side. So specifically, we can kind of get that line going. So grab yourself an observer, have an observer next to this piston facing out, and then an observer there and there. So these, once we tie into this further on, will trigger our dropper. And that means we can do a comparator reading on this hopper here. Put a block here, a block here, redstone dust across those, and this block will fire a sticky piston facing downwards. Once the power strength from the hopper reaches this, it will fire this. We stick a slime block there, and now that moves our redstone block here up and down, allowing the hopper to do its job. So that took care of the overflow and started our line for the payment out. Okay, now grab yourself some of your floor blocks, whatever you choose for your floor blocks. Put a solid block there. Do not make it a slab or anything, because you do not want that hopper to be picking up your payments. This one though, do make a slab. So cover over that dropper, and then come over once more, twice more, 3 and 4. And then on this one, put a button, and on that one, put a button. Okay, and so now we are going to wire up our hit and stay buttons. So firstly, have a downward facing sticky piston, an observer looking that way. Behind that, you want a dropper facing up, and yes, I know we are sticking it next to a slime block. It will stick to the slime block. For the sequence of events, it won't matter that this gets moved. So a hopper facing down into that, and then just put a stackable item in here. It does not really matter what. Put a block next to the dropper with a comparator taking a reading on the hopper facing that way. We are going to have an observer looking at that comparator, and then one looking down on that. That is going to fire into a block here with, again, a dropper there and a hopper facing down into it, and an item into there. Okay, next is wiring up this button here. So we are going to come down once, twice, take that out, Put redstone dust there. Then glass. Then over and down one. Over one more. Down there. Over to here. Come over with a piece of glass. And then a solid block over in this direction here. And go ahead and run dust, dust, dust there. A comparator in this spot. And then dust, dust, and dust. And that is that one figured out. Okay, so this next circuit is going to start part of the payout section of things. And it's going to be kind of a conglomeration of observers. So what we want to do to start off with is right here on this circuit, we actually want two observers facing up. So if you can dig in the ground, but you want two observers right by the target block and one right under it, like that. And on top of this one, we want a repeater facing out like that. So it can take a reading just like that one does when this target block is popped up. So then down here, looking at that one, have an observer. And then observer, observer. That's going to fire into a solid block here. With a waxed copper bulb here. A comparator reading off of the bulb. And that is going into a pumpkin with a note block on it. And then hit the note block 3 times. Okay, and so for the payout section here, we are going to have an observer looking down on that repeater. And we are going to have a solid block here. And then come out 2 more, take out the middle, and put in a sticky piston. Take out that block. So now, when you lose, this piston does not extend and you just hear the losing sound effect. If you tie or win, this piston is going to be pushed over that observer to fire off this sequence of events. We will have a bulb here, so it will be turning on and off. We will have an observer looking at the bulb like that. One observer looking at that. And another one, and that is going to fire into a block. The block has a sticky piston coming back this way. We have an observer looking at that, firing into another bulb right there. Okay, and let me get down. We have an observer looking at the bottom of that. Then we are going to, oh my goodness, if I can work the controls, there we go. Have it coming here once, and then here, and here, and I'm standing under a hole, so try to get once more. Nope. Alright, so this is going to be tricky. You might have to take that out real quick. There we go, because we want that facing that direction. Then we can put this back with the dust. Okay. Now we will come around to the top side. And in this hole, that's part of all of this, just have one more observer looking down at that last one that we put in, like that. And that completes the circuit to the payout dropper. Yep, that's fine, that's fine. Now, this, as this is coming on and off, because the observers are basically firing twice for each diamond that's going through. So as this piston is getting, as this observer is firing into this piston, the piston extends and then comes back, and that basically cuts all those redstone firings in half on this thing to give you a one for one payout for when you tie. This is going back and forth. If you win, we need to have this stuck here so that this is indeed firing twice for each diamond that goes through for your payment, for your winning payout. And so to get this stuck here so that you get the 2 diamonds out for every diamond that you put in, we're going to take a regular piston and put a regular piston like that, facing down. And that's all we need. So when it is a win, this piston will be extended so that this fires twice. If it is a draw, this remains retracted and allows this piston to go back and forth. All right, I hope I edited that so you understand that. Okay, what else is there? Oh yes, okay. So one more thing while we are doing all of this is the sound effect for the paying out. To do that, let's come on over here to get to this a little easier. Here in the middle, I want to come down one more. One observer there. Looking at that, come around to the other side. Have one there. And that is going to fire into a note block with a gold block under it. And we are going to hit this 6 times. All right. So at this point, you can really start trying out the machine to make sure that what is in place is starting to work. So go ahead and put some diamonds in here, like that. And there you go. And so now that's locked that. You saw kind of how that happened, how all that worked there. And then to check the payout, okay, yep, see, this is all lit up like it should be. To check the payout, we want to pull this target block up. So go ahead and put a button on top and then just pull that target block up. We've got the losing sound effect. And when it got done processing all your diamonds, that came back here and it unlocked the shulker box. Our diamonds should have come into here, up, and yep, got 9 of them in here. And then there will be one stuck in here, which is no big deal, really no big deal. And that is how that should work. And if you have enough items, you can check, load this dropper up full of items, and then dump a couple stacks in the hopper to see if the overflow circuit works. Because once they build up so far in the hopper, they should then start draining down into the barrel. But yeah, so far that's what should be happening. Oh, and one other thing, and make sure when you come around back, yep, that this target block has been indeed pulled back down into this position. It should be if these repeaters turn off, it should automatically happen, but just double check that that goes back down. Alright, good. Okay, so if that test went well for you and things reset like they should have, there are a couple more things that we can try. And I realize I keep taking the diamond out of this hopper, and I should not for these to be a proper test, so we'll stick the diamond back in there. And while we are at it, in our payout dropper, we are going to want some more diamonds as well. So I'm going to put a bunch of diamonds in there. And then we will test if we win. We will test actually the tie circuit first, and then the winning circuit. So on the back of this piston, put a lever and turn it on. So now it will record a tie, and then I'm going to put something simple like 10 diamonds in here. Okay, and then I will activate this piston again to draw that target block back up. And now don't worry about the messed up sound effects, we will fix that later. And 19, actually let me get rid of those for a minute. This should be 10 diamonds here, because that's what I put in. Yep, 10 diamonds. Alright, cool. So that was what happens if you tie. And now when you win, put a lever on this piston and activate it. And we will do this test again, and that should simulate a win of doubling our money. So 10 diamonds in there. Okay. And activate that piston down there. And yep, 20 diamonds. So it doubled our money. Okay, cool. And so hopefully that test worked well for you. And if it did, we can go ahead and take these levers back off. And we can even probably take that button as well. And if it did not work for you, go back through and double check the direction of the observers. Check on perhaps the timings of repeaters to make sure those are all as they should be. And go ahead and try the tests again. Okay, so we are on to the start mechanism, which is all tied into this piston here. We don't want to be using a button to activate this all the time. And in fact, it is this circuit here that's taking the reading from this hopper that is going to start it. Except we are not just going to go straight over to the piston. This orange block that was cutting off the signal from above and below is actually a temporary block. What we would like to do is replace it with some droppers. So we'll take that out and put one dropper there, come out with a couple blocks, and have another dropper facing right back into it. And then in here we will place one item, one stackable item, does not really matter what. And so this dropper will be triggered by this redstone signal when it comes over here to the target block, and then this will activate both the lamp and move the item from this dropper to this dropper. Okay, and so then from here we are going to get a comparator reading from this dropper by putting a block down there and putting a comparator here, and that is firing into a block there with some dust on top of it. Put another block next to it with a repeater on it. Okay, that repeater is firing into a block here with a redstone torch there. Okay, also right here under this block we will put a sticky piston and an observer. Yep. Okay, so first, this is actually splitting for two signals. This will come around and start things, and this actually will reset a circuit further on. But let us come here next to the observer with some redstone dust right here. Next to the piston, we'll put a block with a repeater. That is firing into a block there with some dust on top, like that. Okay, and then next to this redstone dust, we are going to want to redirect it a little bit. So we'll stick a target block there. Yep, like that. And then we will have next to the repeater a dropper facing here with a hopper facing back into it. Okay, so inside the dropper we will put an item, boom, like that. And now, yep, and now we are lined up for that piston. So we will do a comparator. So when this shuts off and turns back on, it will move the item from there to the hopper real quick, and the comparator will see that. We want a repeater on 3 ticks of delay. And then in this gap, since we don't really want anything to interact with the piston, we'll put a piece of glass. And plus it makes it easier to see in here. Piece of glass, a repeater, again on 3 ticks of delay, and that is firing and going to charge a block there. So when this happens around through here, it will trigger the piston. Okay, and then I said this is going to reset a circuit later on, further up, and so that's what this is going to do now. Put a temporary block there, have a sticky piston facing up, get rid of that, and then we want 2 blocks of sand on that, so that when this fires, that shoots up real quick. Put a temporary block there for our spacer with an observer looking down, and then remove that. This is going to fire into a block here. Come to the side, put a block here with dust on it, and then do a block here, and an observer looking at the dust. All right, good. Okay, we can actually do a little test on this circuit so you can kind of see how this is supposed to be reacting. Go ahead and take the item out of this dropper like that, and go ahead and put it in this dropper. Let me get my viewpoint here a little better. Like that. Okay, so that reset that because that sand got pushed up, and all of this is off. And this is where you kind of want things to be. This is not up yet. It is at this point of the game where you are drawing cards to essentially try to beat the dealer. And then it's only when you hit the stay button that this dropper will put the item back into the other one, and this will shut off, this will shut off, this will turn on, and then this gets triggered, moving this to there. So we can do that by taking the item back out of this one. This pulls this up for then the payments and the diamonds to be delivered. Or if you lose, for you to hear the losing sound. So that is how that is supposed to work. So to reset that back down, go ahead, take this torch out, and replace it, and now your target block is back. So yeah, that's how that is supposed to. That is how that is supposed to work. So go ahead and put the item back in that dropper to get it ready to play. Okay, so our next circuit to work into here is going to be the circuit to essentially lock and unlock the use of these buttons. And we are going to start all the way over here on this side of things. Right here next to the orange and a note block, we'll put a block with a comparator. Alright, this is going to see when this item moves from here up into here. And when it does, that will essentially lock things. And then when it moves back down, it will unlock those buttons all the way over on the other side. So we are going to go up into a block there. We will have a block there with a repeater on it. That is firing into a block here with dust on it. On the face of that block is a redstone torch. Down here we have dust right there. And then we will come down yet again with 3 more blocks and dust on them. Come around the corner with 1 more block here. Come up with 2 blocks like this. And then we'll come down with 2 blocks. And then we will bring our redstone dust along to there, here, here. Next to the piston, we'll put in a repeater so that we don't accidentally trigger it. We will put some dust here. We will put another repeater there on the ground. Some dust in front of it. A block here. Another repeater. Some dust in front of it. And then we will come and put 3 blocks across there like that. And it's easiest to reach in here on top of the observer, put 1 repeater, put a second repeater, and then 2 bits of redstone dust here. Alright. These repeaters just get the redstone across there without triggering note blocks or the bulb. And then we will come around to the inside with 1 more block and some dust next to the comparator. And this is going to lock that. 2 more bits of dust there on the ground. We'll do block, block, and block. Dust on those. There we go. And that dust connected up into here, keeping this fired, so now this button can't do anything. And then to lock this, get a regular piston face up there. So now this can't do anything either. Alright, and so to turn that off, like I say, that happens when an item goes up into here. It turns all of this off. So now this button would work, and this button would work. Take that back out. Yep. Now there is one more scenario. Let me come back over here. If you are playing and you bust, means you get 15 and you lose, the game should automatically start the ending cycle. Meaning it will start playing the lose sound effects, drain the money out, and reset as soon as you hit bust. There is a brief amount of time where it could be possible for you to keep hitting buttons until the circuit locks from this point. So to speed up the buttons locking again, we are going to add in one more trigger by coming next to that observer. Put a block there, put some redstone dust there, and a redstone torch there on that block. So as soon as you bust this, the item in this dropper goes back to its start point, this can come on like right away and lock your buttons. Okay, so now we get to work in some sound effects. So right down in here, we will put a block here with a repeater on it on 3 ticks of delay. We can put some redstone dust there on that observer. Over here, we'll have an observer looking at that brown block there. We'll put a sticky piston here, and that should happen. Get yourself a block of emerald to put right there next to the repeater and a note block, and hit this 13 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And we are going to then come around to this other side. Come right on inside here. And this is going to be a 2-tone kind of a sound effect. So put a block here, here. It will be dust, dust. Come down to the floor, dust, dust. Now, we don't really want this to happen, so we will put a block there to block that. Come over here, put a note block there, and then a emerald block there. So now that dust will come around and chime this. Hit this note block 18 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. There we go. And there is our sound effect. Let's go ahead and see what it sounds like. There we go. Doot, doot. That's what we want. And that is to let you know that the game is ready to play. Okay, so we are more than half done, and we are actually going to be moving on to the logic circuits. So just take your time and follow along. And if you have to back up and rewatch things, then by all means go ahead and do that. The first circuit we are going to start with is the circuit for the dealer. The dealer. Now, what we want to start with is actually a dispenser. The dispenser, not the dropper, the dispenser. Because this will hold shulker boxes, and you will want the dispenser to set the shulker box as a block rather than spit it out as an item. So we are going to come all the way into here, next to this red block with the redstone dust on it, and put a temporary block there, and your dispenser facing up. Then take out that block. Okay. Alright, here we go. Put a redstone torch on the back side, and a regular piston facing here. Facing, come on, you can do it. There we go. Facing there. So when the time comes, that can break the shulker box off. When it breaks it off, we need some hoppers to catch it. So put a hopper facing back into the dispenser, and then come to the side and put another one there. And this one leads back into this one. That is just in case for some reason the broken off shulker box makes it way over here. We need to get them all back in the dispenser. We will be taking comparator readings from that shulker box. So crouch and put a comparator on that hopper, and that is firing into a block. oh my goodness, into a block right there. There we go. Put a block here, here, and here. And then come up and put a block there. Take this one out. All right, the next step is get yourself a barrel here and put a barrel in that spot with one item in it. And then get a comparator reading off of that barrel. Like that. Okay. Now, the signal that we get from this shulker, we are going to bring... Get back here. There we go. We are going to bring around this corner to this point, and this we will put in subtract mode. So we will be subtracting a power signal of 1 from here. This spot, put dust on here. This is coming down from the player. And we are going to compare and subtract the player's score from the dealer's score to figure out if we've won or not. So here we are going to put another comparator in subtract mode, because subtracting this from this, or rather this from this, and then we'll have one more comparator here. That is firing into a block. Then we are going to come over and down. A comparator there, and that is going to fire into a block there. And that signal is going to be transferred down to a piece of redstone on some glass that is above that torch. We don't want that torch triggering this redstone. And when we win, we have a few things that need to happen over here on this side. We need to cover over the losing sound effect. We need to trigger this piston for either the tying or the winning, the draw or the winning. And then if we do win, we need to trigger this piston. So to handle that, we'll put a solid block there, there, come up to the side, below, take out the middle, do a comparator here. If we tie with the dealer, because of this math here, our total will be 1, which is, with these comparators being brought over here, the signal strength will be 1, which gets us here, which gets us the draw. And as soon as we get the draw, we want to work this in, so we'll come over and down, 2 more blocks. We can do a repeater at this point, 2 bits of dust, and then a downward facing, come on, 3 if that's the easiest way to do that, a downward facing piston, and then take out that block. There we go. So that can get triggered. If we are winning, a win will give us a signal strength of 2 or more. And to figure that out, it would be add another block here. A signal strength of 1 would put that dust power there. 2 or more would put the dust power signal strength here. So to get the signal then over to our piston, we are going to do a solid block, a piece of glass, because I will have a dropper under this. We'll do a repeater here, and then we can do dust and dust. All right. Okay, so one more thing over here. If the dealer busts, so if the dealer gets 15, we need to make sure that we win. Because currently it is set up so that if the dealer has a larger score than the player, we lose. Except that if the dealer hits 15, we want to make sure that we win. So in order to do that, we are going to come out the back of that block with 1 and coming down with some dust. And then we will come over and down and over one more time. Put a comparator on this block. Put a block here with a comparator. Put a redstone block here with dust on top of it. Because redstone blocks cannot turn off a comparator in Bedrock Edition, you need the dust. And then another block here, and then come down here in the middle. Yep, with another comparator and a bit of dust here. There we go. So if we get signal strength of 15 here, it would go here, here, 15, 15 all around. 15 strength here would make it through this comparator, essentially turning this off and allowing the player to win. Whereas if it's any other signal strength of less than 15, because this one is, this comparator will not let those signal strengths through. It's only at 15 that this signal can go through, make this 0, and allow the player to win. Okay. Oh, and speaking of winning and everything, we need to add a sound effect here. So get a bone block. Put the bone block next to the dispenser with the note block on top of it, and hit it 6 times. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And finally, we do not want this to be a cross, because in a future step we are going to be bringing lights across here. So we will redirect this redstone signal by crouching and putting a button on our note block, just to redirect this dust. Okay, so now we are going to do the logic circuits for the player. We're going to come right here into the middle to this block right here, and we are going to put a block on top, a block to the side, and a block to the inside. Yep. Here on the inside, we are going to do a repeater on 3-tick delay. Very important, 3-tick delay. If this is not on 3-tick delay, your machine will self-destruct. So 3-tick delay. Come over here, a repeater on 2-tick delay, and that is going to fire a sound effect. So we'll do a bone block and a note block, and hit this note block 13 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. All right. Over here on this side, we want a dispenser. So again, not a dropper, a dispenser. And have that dispenser right next to this repeater facing up. Can I do it? Can I do it? Yes, there we go. Okay. On top of this block is dust, and then get a regular piston and put here. Goodness gracious. Okay, and so again, this dispenser is going to have shulker boxes in it, and this piston will be pushing the shulker boxes off, and so we will need some hoppers to catch it. So over here, put a hopper there, and just for double insurance to make sure we're not losing shulker boxes, put another hopper here, and then come around to this side and put one here. All right. Put a block, there, and then take that one out. And to get our comparator reading from the shulker box, we are coming through this block. So put a block there and there, take that one out, and put a comparator here. Okay, and then so what we are building here for the player is going to be a memory circuit, which is a little different than this down here. This will hold on to a signal strength, essentially. So we will go block there with a comparator facing in this direction in subtract mode. This is firing into a block, right? Yep, there, okay. And then put a block here, here, here. Put another comparator right next to that going that way. Put another block here. Come up in that corner, there we go, so that these two blocks are diagonal from each other. Put dust on this one. Put dust on this one. And now remember, this was our reset coming up. So this will be a signal strength when we reset it of 15 into this circuit, which is what we want. Go ahead and take that block out. Put one more block here. Put a comparator facing in this direction in subtract mode. This will be needing to take a reading from a level 15 power source behind it, and then it will subtract this amount from that. So the easiest way to get a signal strength of 15, kind of the cheapest way, is put a hopper here and fill it with non-stackable items. So go ahead and just put some non-stackable items in here, 5 of them. They do not have to be diamond hoes. They can be wooden shovels or whatever you want. So now we have a signal strength of 15 coming through here. That's the player score, so put a block next to the observer to send that signal down. And go ahead and put some dust on top as well. Okay. Oh, we do not, again, like we did down here redirecting that redstone, we do not want this redstone pointing in this direction. So get yourself some glass, and we need to cover up this space anyway so we don't lose shulker boxes. So put some glass there, glass, glass, kind of cover over this with some glass there, some glass here. And again, I want to be extra careful, so even fill in the corners. Do whatever you can to not lose the shulker boxes. Leave this spot open for the hopper to pick up the shulker box. But then anyways, on this piece of glass, put yourself another button just to redirect that dust. So now that we have this bit in, we need to handle a situation again where the player might bust, and we need to initiate a reset of the system. To do that, let us come into here, into this corner, with a sticky piston facing downwards, like that. Come around to this side with an observer facing that way. And let us trigger this circuit. Put a block there. Take the block out. Okay, so now there's a level 15 signal strength in this circuit. Put a redstone torch on that block so it goes out. I just didn't want this piston to extend down. But when it does, when this turns off by hitting 0, that'll come on. That'll extend this. That'll fire our light blue block right there. Come around to the inside. And when this blue block is powered, it's going to light up a copper bulb. We are going to have an observer see that copper bulb change state. And then we are going to have another observer looking up. Oh my goodness. Look, there we go, looking up, firing down. And if you remember from before, this is the dropper that when we start, the item goes from the dropper under that to this one, and to stop it, it goes from here back. To trigger that, moving the item from there back, we just need to put a block there. So the observer fires the block and triggers this dropper to put its item back. That is when we bust as a player. Now, to do that, we actually want to do that manually when we hit the stay button. We want that to happen manually, which is this line here, coming up to this point. So to get this point, to trigger this block as well, to trigger that item, we are going to have a dropper hopper setup. So here's a dropper with a hopper, going right back into it. Put one item in here, does not matter. Put a block there with a comparator on it, like that, and an observer looking at the comparator. And that will trigger that as well. Oh, and one more thing. While we are over here, if we lose by busting, by getting 15, then not only do we want this to reset, we want to make sure that this signal that this signal going through does not trigger a win. Which, if the signal does go through this point, it will trigger at least a draw. So to make sure this triggers a loss, the easiest way is just move this block out of the way. So put a temporary block next to that hopper, put a sticky piston facing down, get rid of that, and put dust there. Yeah, there we go. So if this signal here turns off, the torch will turn on, pushing this block out of the way, and then we do not get paid as the player. And so the next thing we want to do is hook up the hit me button, which is this. That is this circuit here coming kind of along these lines of blocks to this dropper hopper setup. And when we say hit me, we will want this dispenser to spit up a shulker box to get a reading. So to get this connected to that, put a block next to this dropper that should still have one item in it, and we want a comparator reading from the hopper that is firing into a block there with a redstone torch on its side, a block on top, a redstone torch on this side, and then come in here and put, well, a block there, take this one out, and a bit of redstone dust there. There we go. So when this gets triggered, we can flash a signal onto the dispenser. Okay, now back here around at the front, we can start working in our lights. We are going to start down here with the dealer. Alright, so when the dealer's score gets displayed back in there with the shulker box. That signal's coming around here and getting put up onto this spot. So we'll put some dust there. We will put a block above the comparator. We will put a target block in that spot. Let's go ahead and bring up that dust there. Well, we don't want it to connect with the red stuff, so put another block up there. Bring a block above the comparator with a comparator coming off of the target block, like so. And then put a block down here and back one. And then we want to come across 14 blocks. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Come down one, so over and down. And then take that off. Put a pumpkin here with a note block on top, and then hit this note block 6 times. 4, 5, 6. And then go ahead and just run dust on top of all of these blocks. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, now, and we also do not want that to connect. Oh, actually, we do not want this one to connect down here. So we can do that. And I was mistaken. We don't really want dust on this one. We can do away without it, because this can be triggered here onto that block. Okay, so no dust on this one. Put a block there to block that. And this will be taken care of when we tie in the player's score. And just double checking. I think that looks all right. Okay, so for the player score, what we want to do is, this is the player score, so we'll take a comparator reading there, and that will fire up to a block here with some dust to the side. And again, we do not want it to connect to the red, so put a block over that. Yep, that's fine. One more block here with another comparator here. Okay, and then same thing as below. Put one block there, and then come over 14. Come down with a slab to that point. Do a pumpkin, not there, but there. Take that out. And a note block there on top. And again, hit this 6 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And again, run redstone dust all over every thing. Back to this comparator. We don't want that to connect. So put a block there. And if you noticed, when we put those up, this got cleaned up as well with that cross connect. And then lastly, go ahead and put redstone lamps across the front of all these blocks, like that. Put one in front of the note block, put one in front of the pumpkin, and that should be good there. And that is pretty much all the redstone done. Now, I have kept waffling on about the shulker boxes going in this dispenser and this dispenser right there. And this is how you can get to them. So let us get those set up as our final task. So this is what Rexstone has recommended, suggested, and he kind of did the math on statistical odds, which is good because I don't know much about gambling and statistical odds. But let's take a look at what he has recommended. So for the players cards 1 through 7, In our first box, to get a signal strength of 1, all you need is 1 stackable item. Now, to get a signal strength of 2, you need 2 non-stackable items. Okay? Signal strength of 3 is 4 non-stackable items. And then just keep adding 2 more to the shulker box. So signal strength of 4 is 2, 4, 6 items. Signal strength of 5 is 8 items. Signal strength of 6 is 10 items. And lastly, a signal strength of 7 is going to be, 12 items. So you need to create these shulker boxes with these numbers of items in them to get the signal strengths you need. Okay? And then you are going to take all of these and you are going to just go ahead up in your machine for your player, put them in this dispenser. And the player's hand is set up. Now, for the dealer, okay, you can have 5 cards for the dealer. The dealer is not based on 1 through 7. The dealer scores are actually going to be final scores. So what that means is where the player builds up their score, you're just going to get a lump score for the dealer. So they are going to be, let's see here. Okay, 11 through 15. So you can set up 11 through 15, which means they will start here as 11, 12, 13, 14, and you do want to give them 15 so they have a chance to bust. So if you give them just the 5 cards, the odds for the player is 0.881 return for 1 diamond played. So for each diamond the player plays, there's a 0.881 chance that they could win. How he figured that, I really don't know. But you do not have to stick with just 11 through 15 for the dealer. He says adding the 10, which I like playing with the 10, adding in a box of 10 gets the player 1.0063 diamonds per each diamond blade. So the odds essentially go up for the player. Okay. Now, to make the odds more in the house's favor, you can add a second box of 12. So you can have 2 boxes of a score of 12. To bump the odds back to the house, the player would get 0.9879 diamonds per each diamond played. Now, how he figures that out, I don't know, but I'm going to trust it because, like I say, I am not good with odds in math and gambling. So I will take his word for it. All I know is I have fun playing with all 7 of these. And so let me show you. So if you do 10, a box of 10 to get a score of 10 is both rows filled up with non-stackable items. 11, add 2 more. 12, add 2 more to that, so you're 2 rows and 4. 13 is 2 rows and 6. 14 is all except the last one. And to get a power strength of 15, it is a full box of non-stackable items. Like I say, if you want to add a second box of 12, it is 2 stacks with 4. And that, like I say, I like playing with all 7. It seems to be a fairly evenly matched game, and by the time I get done, the house always wins anyways. So 14 and 15. There we go. There are my shulker boxes. And so these shulker boxes will go. We come on in here, up, down, sidestep. Over here where this torch is, that is our dispenser. Put these up into here. There we go. And that is the game done. So this should be ready to play. What do I got? Diamonds? I got diamonds. So make sure we have diamonds up here. Actually, you know what? Let us grab some more diamonds. And we will put some diamonds up into that dropper. Like that. And I guess I'm ready to play. Put diamonds in. Oh, I just remembered my light. That's going to be an extra. Okay, just a minute. Let's finish our round, then I'll put in that extra light. So this is a hit me. Got a 4. Okay. Now we're going to be watching the shulker box up there. Making sure it keeps getting picked up. Hit me again. Hit me again. Oh my goodness. One more time. Yeah, of course. Okay. Now for the dealer's shulker box. The dealer's shulker box is sitting right there, like it should. It will get cleared when we start the next game. And I lost because I busted, so this got extended, which is exactly like it should have done. And yeah, I think it all looked like, they're all right back in there. I think it all looked like it worked pretty good, other than me losing. But yeah, now the light I threw in, the extra light, that's a touch I'm going to put in, because if you are betting a stack or 2 stacks of diamonds, it is going to take a while for those to go through the hopper. And the light comes on just to let you know that the machine is processing diamonds and it's not broke, etc. It's just processing diamonds for you. So get yourself some redstone torches, get yourself a redstone lamp, and then right here, on top of this block here, right near there, put a redstone lamp, redstone torch, put a floor block, whatever your floor block is, put your floor block there, and then put a torch here with a redstone lamp on top of it. That. Now when you have your other floor blocks around it, that is going to hide your redstone torch. Okay? And then you're going to have some kind of wall block, I assume, under these lamps to hide the rest of your machine. Yeah. But that should be okay now. Let's try this again. Make sure that works. Yep, just like that. Right, let's see if I do any better this time. Ooh, strong start. Strong start. Oh, I like that. Okay, hold. Yaha! Bingo! Hey! Alright. Well, that is the machine. So, I hope you were able to follow along and didn't get too confused at too many spots. I know I had a lot of people asking for this machine, and I did spend a lot of time working on it. So if you guys don't mind, if you did like the machine, go ahead and hit that like button, please, and thank you. Like I said before, give Rex Stone a shout out and go over and thank him too, because really it's his thinking up and process and his design. I just tweaked it for the Bedrock edition, and I hope to see you again in the next episode, whatever I put out, whether it's another Redstone tutorial. If you guys have any suggestions for other games or machines, go ahead and leave a comment below. But until next time, as always, have fun and see ya!